What's up, y'all? My name is JR, and for those of you who don't already know, I'm a huge movie and TV nerd. If you're new here, I appreciate you taking the time to check out my channel. I hope you consider sticking around and joining the film community I'm trying to build here on YouTube. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving my reaction and review of Season 1 of the Amazon Prime drama series, Cruel Intentions. And just so you guys know, this video will contain mild spoilers, so if you haven't gotten around to watching this show yet and you don't want to know anything that happens in it, you might want to exit this video now. And with that being said, no more wasting time. Let's get into it. Cruel Intentions is an American television series developed by Phoebe Fisher and Sarah Goodman and produced by Original Film, Sony Pictures Television, and Amazon MGM Studios for Amazon Prime Video. Part of the film franchise of the same name, it is based on the 1999 film by Roger Kumble. The series, set in a Washington, D.C. college among rich students, follows two manipulative step-siblings who are ready to do anything to maintain their status. It features a cast led by Sarah Catherine Hook, Zach Burgess, and Savannah Lee Smith. Now, plan for a television adaptation of the film started back in 1999 at Fox with a prequel series that was later retooled as a 2000 direct-to-video film, Cruel Intentions 2, following its cancellation due to creative concerns. Now, in 2015, NBC picked up a television pilot for the continuation of the film's storyline with Sarah Michelle Gellar returning but later passed on the project. Amazon announced a new project's development for Amazon Freevee in 2021 with Neil H. Moritz returning as an executive producer. It was given a series order in April of 2023 and moved to Prime Video several months later. Filming took place in Toronto and began in June of 2023. And Cruel Intentions premiered on Amazon Prime Video on November 21st of this year to generally negative reviews. Now, at the time of the making of this video, the series has a 36% on Rotten Tomatoes, with the series' popcorn meter currently sitting at 76%. The series has a Metascore of 38 on Metacritic based on only 8 critic reviews, with a user score of 4.9 based on only 25 user ratings. And finally, it has a 5.1 out of 10 on IMDb with almost 1,500 ratings. So let's start with the premise of this show, which is a direct copy of the premise of the 1999 film. A stepbrother very badly wants to sleep with his stepsister, and the pair make a bet involving another young woman that will determine who wins or who loses. That's really what the show's about, right? Sure, it's about, the two step-siblings wanting to maintain their power, but at the heart of all that is really a bet. That's what's going on. Now, maybe the young woman wants to retain her power, but her stepbrother not so interested in that when you really boil it all down. Now, this premise is ripped straight out of an adult film shoot. It was creepy as hell back in 1999 when the original film was released. But in 2024, with the help of 8-hour-long episodes with lazy episode titles, by the way, mediocre casting, cringeworthy writing, and lackluster acting, this version of this story was an absolute train wreck to watch. I kid you not. Now, as for the characters, they're basically poor man's versions of the characters that existed in the film, which is fairly normal when networks and streaming services make TV shows out of movies, mostly because the actors in the TV shows are usually inferior to those that made the characters in the movies iconic enough for the remake to happen in the first place. And here, there's pretty much no one to root for except maybe Annie Grover, and even she can't decide who she wants to be throughout this story. That being said, she's the only character worth even remotely caring about in this season of the show, at the very least. Now, I thought the writing here was bad as well, with the writers essentially taking the story from the film, changing the setup, placing the characters in college as opposed to high school, changing their names, which makes you wonder why the hell you would call the show Cruel Intentions to begin with if you weren't bringing any of the original characters back, and then they stretched the story from the film out over the course of 8 episodes of content, which creates a lot of space for meaningless filler, which is exactly what we got here. I mean, we had characters getting sick because they were in love with their professors, and the professors didn't exactly love them back, even though maybe they said they did. We had to watch Annie Grover rail against sorority and fraternity culture, only to join a sorority an episode or 2 later. She also couldn't decide who she wanted to date or lose her virginity to. And she was even willing to let a young man film her having sex, even though she was inexperienced and the daughter of the Vice President of the United States. Though we're supposed to believe she's supposedly smart enough to get into a very prestigious college to begin with. But okay. There was also a fair amount of sex in this season, despite the writers and the directors trying their damnedest not to show anyone having any, which, I always tell you guys, I think defeats the purpose, right? If you're scared to show a boob, then you probably shouldn't be showing one. And you probably shouldn't be depicting the acts where one would need to be shown in the first place. That's always my rule of thumb. If you're scared to show sex, just take the sex out. Boom, problem solved. My point is that the writing was cliche, cringe, and counterproductive throughout the entirety of this season, with the writers pretty much using the same voice to write every single character. Literally, none of these characters sounded any different from the next, boy or girl. And even the adults sounded similar to that of the students. An absolute hatchet job, narratively, and from a character building standpoint. And if that weren't enough, the writers had the unmitigated gall to end the season on a cliffhanger. So that means either we'll have to sit through a second season of a terrible show just to see how the story ends, or it'll get canceled and we'll have spent 8 hours watching a train wreck with no conclusion at all. Great. Now, overall, I'd give this show a 45% or a 4.5 if you're thinking IMDb score. Listen, this show was a much worse, more pretentious version of Hulu's Tell Me Lies, which was at least, watchable college drama about, friendship and relationships, right? Even though it was quite toxic. And, it feels like the higher ups at Amazon knew this, right? And that's why they released the whole season at once. I always tell you guys, no streamer is going to take a show that they think is a hit and release it all at one time, because that's just bad business, right? They would release it an episode at a time, week by week by week, in order to milk subscriptions out of it. But that's not what they did here. This struck me as a show they just needed to put out so that the people who were already subscribed to Amazon Prime would have something new to watch, especially over the Thanksgiving holiday. And I just thought that the show was put on the streamer, in the midst of Amazon searching for their next streaming hit, because this was a miss. And it leans more on facilitating drama inorganically than it does in creating compelling characters. Again, guys, this one is a miss in every sense of the word. And for that reason, I would recommend that you not waste a weekend watching 8 episodes that the writers couldn't even bother to properly name. But what do you guys think? Have you had a chance to watch Cruel Intentions yet? If you have, did you think it was as bad as I did? Let me know in the comments. And for those of you that might be new to the channel, be sure to like and share this video. If you really like the content, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. That way you'll be notified whenever I drop a new video. You can also now support the channel by leaving a super thanks. If you should be so inclined, I'd appreciate it. Also, be sure to go and check out themaskscreenwriter.com for more television and film reviews and info on my upcoming film projects. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I got screenplays to write, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.